This is the plaintiff, LaWanda Carter. She says she turned the light on in her bathroom one day and it sparked, smoked, and her walls became charred. She called her landlord. He didn't take it seriously, though. That's when she decided enough was enough and moved out. The defendant refuses to reimburse her for her emergency moving expenses. He won't give her back her security deposit. And she's here suing the louse for every penny of the $5,000 he now owes her. This is the defendant, Jesus Rosas. He says he responded as fast as humanly possible to the plaintiff's electrical concerns, but she refused to wait until the next morning because the issues occurred after normal business hours. The plaintiff became unreasonable. She said she was going to move out and didn't care she wasn't giving the normal 30 days notice required. Bottom line, the woman left a huge mess behind, and he's not returning her money because he doesn't owe her any. He's accused of not taking a tenant seriously.
All parties, please be ready.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says she turned the lights on in her apartment, and all of a sudden, the walls started to burn, and the landlord now won't make good. But the defendant says the plaintiff is impossible. It's the case of what's up, Sparky?
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right, Miss Carter, you've lived in that building for quite a bit of time. How long did you live there?
In that one building, 12 years.
And how long in that apartment?
12 years.
Oh, the whole time in the same apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So tell me about what happens one fine day, April 2nd.
So I come home from work, I go into the restroom and flip the light switch on, and the light above the sink made like a weird noise, and then all the lights in my unit went out.
In the entire unit, not just in the bathroom?
Exactly. So I call the on-site manager, and he tell me to flip the switch on the breaker in my bedroom.
Flip the breaker?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. So then I flipped the breaker, the lights came back on. 15 minutes later, I go back in the bathroom, do the same thing, and at this time, the light started smoking and sparking, and it left 2 charred marks on the wall.
Do you have a picture?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that you underneath?
Yes.
All right, so it leaves these charred marks out there. Okay, so that's concerning. And then what happened?
So I called the manager again, the on-site manager, and he said, I'll call the office to have someone come out and check it. I said, okay. He said, do not turn the lights on. So the light from the breaker is off again. So
What time of the day is this?
This is, I made the second call around 3:45.
In the afternoon?
Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't sound good. Go ahead.
So
everyone's just looking at the clock, waiting for it to be 5 o'clock to not help you. Go ahead.
Right. So this went on phone tag to about 4:55. So I called the office again, and I was on hold until 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, I was transferred to Sandy, and I left her a message. Called the front desk back. Of course, the phones are on forward.
Exactly.
So then I called the manager, and I'm like, okay, Rick, what's going to happen? He said, well, at 5:30, I'm going to put a call into the after-hour maintenance guy. He said, and they'll send someone out. All right. So then 6 o'clock, nothing. 6:20, I get a call from the manager, and he tells me that someone at the office said for me to keep the lights off, and they'll come in the morning. And I said, Rick, I have a 6-year-old. I don't know if there's a fire brewing in the walls. You mean to tell me no one can come and check this? And he's like, well, that's what he said. I said, okay. So I said, you know what, Rick, I'm going to move. I said, the reason I'm moving.
You're going to move?
I'm going to move.
Move entirely?
Entirely.
Not move out of that apartment for the evening and make them pay for a hotel?
No.
Move entirely?
Entirely.
Okay.
And the reason I decided to move is because I have given them no problems. I pay my rent on time. And mind you, this is the 3rd electric issue in 30 days.
What were the other 2 electric issues?
They fixed the light in the dining room. The light kept going dim. And I changed the bulb, but the light kept going dim. So what the manager did, he had someone come out. They had to replace the wiring. And then they had to replace a fuse in the fuse box.
All right. Go on.
So, and like I told Rick, I knew the problem wouldn't be fixed. I just wanted someone to come and check it to make sure it wasn't a fire brewing.
Okay, so did they send somebody the next morning?
No. Well, they wanted to. I told Rick not to let anyone in my unit because I was moving. And I said, I can't use the lights. The lights.
Right, but wait. You're moving because you think that there's a hazardous condition. This is an apartment building, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if I sleep next door to you, that hazardous condition can burn me alive, right? So if there's a hazardous condition that warrants you being able to move without notice, why doesn't it also warrant that they get to come in and fix it so that I don't fry when I'm sleeping? According to you guys, she changed the locks.
She did.
How do you know?
We sent out an electrician to go, and the manager tried the key, and the locks were changed.
And the electrician went over there on what day?
He went on 2 occasions. He went the very next day, just knocked, no one answered. Then we posted a 24-hour notice, and then once the 24-hour notice happened for that day, he went in with the electrician, and he could not get in because the key was changed.
Did you change the lock?
I personally didn't change it, but yes, I had the lock change.
You had the locks changed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so did you pay April rent?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. And you move out on April 6th?
Yes, that's when I gave the key back, April 6th.
Okay.
Once I was told that...
Again, before you move on, why the heck didn't you guys just send an electrician? She started calling at 3:30. Why couldn't you just send an electrician?
So all of our maintenance techs were unavailable at the time.
Then why didn't you get a real electrician?
So we were trying to get certified electricians to go out, but none of them were answer, or they couldn't go the same day. So
you got to pay extra to get them to come, but you could. Don't tell me that in Los Angeles, California, there wasn't a single electrician that could go out that day. Now, the question is, does that give her a right to move out, not pay rent, get her security deposit back and everything else? So you have a security deposit of how much?
$950.
All right. You're not suing for $950. You're suing for $5,000.
Yes,
Explain
ma'am.
that.
For pain and suffering is the bulk of it, and then
But what's the pain and suffering? Usually I see in cases where someone beats the hell out of another person and then they have pain and they suffer. So tell me about your pain and suffering, which is $3,600 of your lawsuit.
So part of that pain and suffering is once I found out that no one was coming, I became very ill. I was having sharp pains in my stomach. I was sweating. I was vomiting. And I think I went into like a straight panic attack. So
why didn't you just leave?
Well,
because look, court is about making you whole.
Right.
It's not about ching ching, let that cash register ring, right?
Right.
Okay. All right.
So the other part of it is when I moved out, I moved a dresser. And I had mold behind that dresser. And that explains why my son has been put on an inhaler within the last 2 years.
How did the mold get there?
I don't know. And it's not where water is. It was just there. And it wasn't there 3 years prior when I changed my bedroom furniture around. That's mold. My dresser sat right there.
But you never complained to them about mold. If you complain to them, they can address it. If you don't complain, they can't address it. If you don't smell it, I understand. But you can't blame them. They don't live with you.
Right.
You're the one who's got to say, hey, we have a mold problem. There must be a leak. Come and do this. If they ignore you, bad on them.
Right.
But if you never bring it up to them, how are they going to know?
I understand.
So I'm just trying to understand really what's going on here. You're also suing them for $65 for U-Haul rental, $119 for moving boxes, $181 for storage fees. Unlike everybody else, you don't have to give 30 days notice. You don't have to pay rent for April. You get to move out, and they not only have to give you your security deposit back, but they also have to pay all your moving expenses because they couldn't come and fix the light yet, right? That's, it's kind of...
Well,
it sounds terrible when I say it, right?
yes.
So how long does a landlord have to fix a pretty serious electrical problem?
I give them like a week because, rent is not cheap. So
Fair enough. A week? What do you say?
I'd give them an hour because I have stuff to do.
An hour. It ain't going to happen for you going inside the courtroom.
You guys do not want to give her back. What is your official position on why you will not give her back her $950?
So for the loss of rent,
For what month?
for that particular month,
Yeah.
and then the cleaning of the apartment after she vacated the unit.
Because how did that look?
She left, if you look at the stove, the dishwasher, and the pictures provided, just the cleaning and the kitchen where you
All
can
right,
see.
so this is the stuff she left in the unit and you had to put it in the garbage.
Yeah. Or she left it outside.
Or did she leave it outside or did you bring it
That
outside?
I'm not 100%
I
sure.
don't know
but
why they
it's-
send you. You're like a top man who doesn't know anything. What's this?
Let me see, ma'am.
Yeah.
Because that unit was clean. My sister even vacuumed the whole unit out. This is where
Take
the
a look at that.
stove was. This is where the refrigerator was.
Was that where the refrigerator was?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
That's how everybody's refrigerator bottom's going to look.
That's where the
But look
refrigerator
at that
was.
stuff. That's not particularly. What about the stovetop wasn't clean? The oven wasn't clean. We all of us as tenants have a responsibility to turn it over the way we got it. You wouldn't move into a
But
place that looked like that.
Like this here is
The walls,
just,
yeah.
This is just the wall of me being there for 12 years.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that it was 12 years, but how does a wall even get that way?
Well, I have a 6-year-old, and he did write on the wall.
Well, that's a different picture of the writing where your 6-year-old wrote on the walls. That's just grime.
No, this is actually writing on the wall.
All of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Bring that back here. My eyes aren't that bad. No way. Give it back to my bailiff.
That's actually writing, yes.
No, I see the writing, but it's also just grime on the wall.
No, ma'am. That's writing.
This may be academic anyway, but...
That's writing.
Yes, some of it is, some of it's not. But either way.
That's just been there 12 years not having the unit repainted.
All right. And what's your pain and suffering? You felt sick when you stayed there that night?
Yes, I have a letter from my mom, because my mom and my 2 sisters came to help me gather stuff. You want to see the letter?
From your mom?
Yes.
I live for this moment.
Come on, Your Honor.
I'm not gonna be mean. I just want to know what your mom is gonna say on your behalf. I think it's funny. Go ahead. This is because your mom helped you move the next day?
Well, she actually came the day that they said they wasn't coming. My mom and my sisters.
Found LaWanda on the couch, excruciating pain. She was sweating, uncontrollable, vomiting, very weak. She stated she was having really sharp pains in her stomach. After 30 minutes, she continued to be in pain despite us giving her pain medication. I told her I was going to call 911. She begged me not to, said she just needed to relax. Why didn't all of you guys leave to someone else's house that had electricity and air conditioning and everything?
Well, ma'am, I guess the way that I was treated, like I felt, and I could be wrong, that if you have a office hour company that if for emergencies, why no one can come in and check?
I'm gonna tell you something, Ms. Carter. You see this? This is a pretty tough person, right? I was on the phone with DirecTV for 4 hours begging them to give me service. I can't delegate this because I've got to be able to explain the story 80 times. They made me cry. Do you know what it is for someone to make this cry? Okay? Customer service stinks. It's terrible. And it's something everybody within the sound of our voice knows. Okay? So I agree with you. They should send an electrician out right away that night. I agree with you. If you were coming here and suing me, hey, Judge, I pay $11.20 for rent. I want rent for 1 day back. Or, hey, Judge, I had to stay in a hotel. I want my hotel fee back. I would be agreeing with you. Mm-hmm. But instead of you coming in here and asking me for that, you have decided to move when those aren't grounds to move. Because it's not like you had an expert go to the house and say, hey, the electrical here is unsafe. You know, you've got some evidence of stuff. If I see a spark, a burn on a plug or on a light, I got some concerns. But you didn't even let them address it. The next day, you could have let them address it, and you didn't. So it sounds like you wanted to leave. But then you come to court, and you're not just saying, I want my deposit back. You're saying, I want more than 5 times my deposit back because they have to pay me $3,600 for emotional distress because my light didn't work, Judge, and they should have been there that night. I don't think so. I don't think so. So, I mean, based on the facts as you admit them, you lived there in April, so no matter what, you owe the rent for April. And they're not even counterclaiming against you. Your rent is how much?
$11.20.
So I don't even have to get to dirt, grime, clean up, throw away, repair. I don't have to get to any of that. Just on rent, and just on rent for April, I don't even have to get the 30-day notice. If you live there in April, you owe April. They tried to fix it the next day. So you don't get your security deposit back. And because I feel that you made a choice, which is good for you that you made the choice, but that doesn't mean they have to pay you $5,000 because you made that choice. So my verdict in this case is for the defendant. Good luck.
So the plaintiff fails in her attempt to get $5,000 from the defendant. It didn't work out very well.
It didn't, and it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay?
It's okay.
You went to court?
I did. It was fair. She was fair.
Well, she was right. She's the judge.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not upset?
No, not at all.
Cool. Very good.
Not at all.
Okay, good enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Strange. She went to court and sued, but she's not upset. How about you? You surprised at the outcome, or
No.
were you not worried at all?
Not worried at all. We knew we had the evidence and we were good.
Yeah, well, obviously the judge found for you with no problem. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, good enough. That'll do it, Harvey. What do you think?
I mean, look, emotional distress, Doug, requires outrageous conduct, and there is no outrageous conduct here.